Hello and welcome to the Bigger, Braver Life Show. I'm your host, Angela Marie Williams. As an entrepreneur and success coach, my mission is to empower you to realize your dreams and potential through transformational experiences. The purpose of this show is to inspire your positive change by learning from a community of those paving the way to a bigger, braver life. Hi, and welcome to the Bigger, Braver Life Show. I'm your host, Angela Williams. I'm a success coach, and I'm here to help you achieve your dreams without self-doubt, burnout, overwhelm, and through braver decision-making. I'm so happy to have you here, and I have a lovely guest with me today. Her name is Carol, and she was one of my former mastermind colleagues. She's also a coach, and I'm super excited to have her share her story. So Carol, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited to be here with you and see you again.
Yes, you too. So Carol, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about your work in this world?
Sure. So my name's Carol Banens. I am a transformational life coach for women over 50. And of course, I picked that because that's me, who have really sort of feeling lost. They're going through maybe different life transitions, whether that's loss of a spouse, loss of a job, some sort of difficult transition, and they don't know who they are anymore. So I help them to create an epic next chapter.
Tell us how you are living your bigger, braver life. You have a wonderful story. I'd love for you to share that with all of us.
I do. It's funny because I knew you were going to ask me that, of course. And I thought, when did I start my bigger, braver life? And I think the first thing actually was moving from the UK to Canada when I'd never been here before. I had no idea I was going to be this deep in snow. So I think I was maybe more stupid than brave at that point. But anyway, so I've been here for 32 years, and my bigger, braver life, I think it's been steps. You know, I was in a marriage, my first husband, and I chose to leave. That was the biggest decision I've ever made. It was the hardest decision. It was really, really challenging because having two children, and he's a good guy. It just, it wasn't working. We're friends now, but that was a big decision. But the biggest, braver life thing that I had to deal with was the actual death of my second husband, Brian, who got very sick. And after he died, I had to think about, oh my God, I don't know who I am anymore. You know, when you've lost this part of you, this part of your life, this person that you're so entwined with, and you've perhaps given a lot of yourself, which, as a physical therapist I did, and as a mother and as a wife, you give so much. And I got to this point, I was sitting there a year after Brian died and thought, I don't even know who Carol is anymore. I don't know who she is. I don't know what she likes to do. I don't even know what joy is anymore. And that was the start of my really transformative journey, I would say, because it's sort of a year later, I decided, well, you're a little bit young here to be sitting watching Netflix for the next 30 years. So it's about time. I mean, I could have done, but you have to make this decision. And I think that's the whole thing about bigger, braver life is you have to decide you want it. You have to decide to move forward. And that's not always easy. It's certainly not easy after grief, So I've been through divorce. I've been through loss of job. I've been through a change of country. But grief, man, that's something different. And to try and move on from that was hard. That was brave. It was brave because it would be easy to just stay in that grief. And I'm not saying that I'm not still in grief, because I still have a grief counselor and we're nearly 4 years on, because grief can hit you like this tidal wave. But I don't want to be defined by my grief. I still want to live my life despite my grief. So it was learning about how do I expand a life around grief so that I can still feel fulfilled and joyful and move forwards without my husband.
Yeah. Wow. That's a powerful story. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it sounds like, you really had to, and I'm sure it wasn't easy, but had to make that decision that you weren't going to let that take over and be in the driver's seat. You were going to still enjoy and love and do things for yourself while still honoring the memory of your husband and the love that you had in the relationship. And wow, that's a big deal.
It is. And, I can remember sitting there Googling, what's my life purpose? I mean, I'm sure you deal with that all the time with your clients too. It's like, what is my why now?
Yeah.
What on earth am I going to do without that man in my life, without that whole life that we had together? And, I did the Life Book program, and I think you did that also. And it was very helpful because it really helped me look at different aspects of my life. What was it I wanted out of career or spirituality or relationships or family? And it really sort of helped me to think about that and visualize, what do I want? Because I didn't really know. And I'm still not sure I totally know, but I'm moving in the right direction. And I think it gave me that direction. And then I had to hire coaches, because to do it by yourself, it's pretty tough to move that journey by yourself. And when it gets difficult, you want somebody nudging you and supporting you and saying, no, keep going, or do this or do that. And I think one of the biggest things for me was, having done some coaching, I thought, wow, I think I'd be a good coach. I've been a physical therapist for 35 years, and I've been helping people with chronic pain. And what do I do most of the time? I coach them. I coach them to think differently about their pain. And it just comes back to mindset.
Yes.
What's coaching all about? Our mindset and our thoughts. And so it was really a lovely sort of transitional thing to go into coaching from physiotherapy. And I would say the next really big, brave thing I did is I stopped being a physiotherapist December at the end of this year, just to go all in on coaching. Now I say I stopped, but everybody keeps ringing me up and saying, I've hurt my neck. Can I come and see you? So now my massage table's up by my dining room table. So I've seen a couple of people, but really it's about choosing where you want to go and taking the action. That's what's brave.
Yes. Beautifully said, Carol. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to push a little bit here, because I was there at the beginning of this decision to stop the physio and go into coaching. And your journey had kind of pivoted a little bit with trying to figure out that coaching purpose. I think there are some people who are still working, a job they were, have trained and spent thousands of dollars for, but they're looking at something else going, I think that's really my purpose here. So can you kind of walk us through that thought process of what came up for you, and how did you kind of shift and navigate that?
Yeah, for sure. So initially I started doing pain coaching because that's what I'm very familiar with. I treat people all day, but it was still pretty soon after Brian died. And I found that trying to help people out of really deep physical pain was actually depleting me. It was very heavy going. And so I thought, let's do a pivot. Let's move to people who are moving in a more positive direction. And so I chose me as my ideal client, as a woman who was lost, and I went that route. So I was trying to balance this physical therapy and coaching. And as you know, it's a lot of work, isn't it, when you're doing podcasts and posts and masterclasses and things. And I was getting burned out. And in the middle of last year, I thought, I can't keep going at this pace. And I actually took myself off to a beautiful place called Le Monastère des Augustines in Quebec City. And it's a hotel run by nuns. Well, there are only about 6 nuns. It's really run by staff now. But it's very beautiful. And there are massages. There's no TVs. And I wasn't using my phone. So I got to sit really in stillness, really in quiet, in the garden, in one of those little rocking seats with my cup of tea and my journal. I had never, ever given myself that space before. And I don't think we get it even when we're at home, because there's always something to do, isn't there? There's always a distraction. And I mean, it was transformative for me to sit there and have nothing else to do but sit with my thoughts and write. Never really done that, journaling. And when I looked back, when I was there, I thought, I'm really ready to let go of physio. I've loved it. I love my patients and the people I'm with. Like, it's been an amazing career. And I got to this decision. I thought, yeah, this is it. But the moment I walked into my house, when I came home, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can. I started to get a little wobbly about it because now I'm back in my surroundings. It was very easy when I was somewhere else. But what I did is I looked back at what I had written.
Mm.
Oh, that's how I was feeling. Oh, that's why. That is why. And I hummed and hawed, and then I just did it. I just did it.
Yes. So many great points there, Carol. So first of all, what inspired you to take that time away, that quiet time for you?
I was burning out. I couldn't think it. I think I couldn't cope. I was very, very tired, low energy. It was difficult. I used to see 6 patients a day for an hour at a time, and then it went down to 5, and then it went down to 4, and then it went down to 3. And I'm thinking, okay, Carol, you're not doing well here. Yeah. So something has to change, and you need to go and think about it.
Yes, great. So you were able to notice your own decline in productivity and health and wellness.
Yeah. Yes.
And able to say, okay, stop, we have to pivot, we have to do something different. I mean, this is impacting me in so many different ways. Mm-hmm. And, kudos to you for that, because sometimes we get so caught up, we just continue and push and push and push and push, thinking that's the answer.
That's what I did.
I'm not working hard enough. Yeah. Right. I think you're so right. It's being able to stop and pause and get that clarity of what we need to be doing. Because obviously your body, your mind was telling you, this is not working. This is not working. This is not working. And so it's up to us to listen to those signals, to those messages, right, from our own system. So that's something I preach all the time. And I love it.
I know. Yeah. And people, and we don't. Listen, I'm a physiotherapist. That's what I told people to do as well. And part of it, of course, I mean, I've got to, as a woman, we do give so much. And, I self-sacrificed an awful lot during the time my husband was sick. My mother was sick. I was flying over to the UK. I had a friend with Alzheimer's. I had to get him placed in a home, and I was working. And I just pushed everything that I needed aside for so long that I didn't even know what I needed. Right. And I think, this burnout really it snuck up on me.
Yes.
And in fact, one of my patients, I said, look, I'm taking a month off. And she said, well, I'm surprised it's taken this long for it to catch up with you. Wow. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Other people letting you know they can see it too. Yeah.
They can. It's just, are we listening? Are we listening to our bodies and the messages that they give us? And we often don't. We're too busy.
Right.
Or we don't want to. We push it aside.
Right. So, and I'm sure that's why people also end up on your table as well because of that.
Totally. The interesting thing is, I mean, with chronic pain, so much of it was emotional pain and trauma and all sorts of other things that have gone on in their lives, much more than the physical pain in the end.
Oh yes. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Right.
I could go, down a whole.
Yeah, we could go down that road for another hour.
With the trauma, therapy that I've done, it's seeing that, how the mind and body connect so, closely. Obviously, it's one system, but when people don't understand that and think of it as separate, it doesn't make as much sense, but it's totally all connected, and you carry that in your body. You carry that emotional and physical stress. So even, with burnout, with trauma, with anything, that's why it's so important. I mean, now more than ever, right? To have your therapist, have your coach, have all of your support in your corner. Yeah. So that you can offload, right? We don't need to move forward intentionally and be able to have somebody help you stay accountable to holding your own desires and your health at the top priority. So
for sure.
Yeah. I love that you went and spent just quiet time. And I had another coach of mine talk about a retreat that she did. I think it was in Austin, Texas. It was no phones, nothing. It was all about connecting with nature, having time by the pool, massages, like all of these things. And you're just disconnected with all the tech and all the things, that keep our amazing brain busy and all these things, worrying, fear of judgment, all of that kind of stuff that comes up with that. But being able to just sit and I think that's so powerful and so underrated, especially now that we have everything, immediately at our fingertips. And really these phones, I don't know if you watched that documentary, but like the apps and all of that, the emails are made for us to like be checking them constantly and all of that. Wild.
It's true. I can't watch a movie without saying, oh, who's that? Let me check. Oh, who's he married to? And all of a sudden I'm off on down the rabbit hole. So
yes,
totally addictive.
Yes. And I think it's such a disservice to being able to listen to our true, like you said, your true desires and our true needs in the moment. So I'm so glad you're able to share that example of how that was really helpful for you. And knowing that even when you get that moment of clarity, there will be still times that you can be pushed up against, right, with the reality of it, or, the way that things are just supposed to go, or that they have been going. And it's important that you look and say, okay, no, this is what I was thinking. This is why. This is what came up when I gave the space and time for this.
Yes, it's so important, because when you get back into your real life, life happens, and you all of a sudden think, oh my God, really? Am I thinking of giving up my job? What on earth was I thinking? Why would I do that? That's blah, blah, blah. And off, the threat levels going off in your brain, and it wants you to stay safe. So don't do it. And you have to take a breath and pause and go back to what were you writing in those moments of stillness? What were you thinking? Because that's probably your true thoughts and your true needs coming up. And you better really pay attention to them.
And the difference between people who are going after their dreams and the people who aren't is being able to overcome that fear. Right. So there's so much fear that happens. And this is why it's all about the bigger, braver life. It's even if you're afraid, it's like you said, I just had to do it. Right. I had to push through and take that brave action in order to do the thing I actually wanted to do that would make me feel fulfilled.
It really, in the end, it's all about self-responsibility, isn't it? And we want to blame other people or COVID, whatever's going on. But in the end, we have to make the decision, and we have to act on that decision, because otherwise nothing changes. We have to challenge ourselves. And it's funny because, as a physio, I would give people really, really tiny challenges, because if they're in chronic pain, there's no point saying go and walk for 20 minutes. They can't do it. But if I said get on an exercise bike and increase it by 15 seconds each day, their nervous system doesn't throw up the threat monitor and go, oh my gosh, you can't do that. They're like, oh, okay, I can do that. And so when we're trying to be braver, do it little by little, micro steps. Don't jump right into something. I mean, I didn't just say, that's it, I'm giving up my job. I spent a year thinking about it, didn't I? Talking about it, going away, thinking about it, going back to work. I mean, little by little, so that you can achieve it, rather than the fear stopping you taking any action.
Absolutely. Yeah. Small actions better than zero. 100%.
Yeah.
And, talking about even building the habits that people want to build with their wellness, their goals, all of that. Atomic Habits, by James Clear, he talks about even just showing up, even if you show up for 2 minutes, it's those micro steps that are going to get you to your final destination. Will it happen immediately? No, but the commitment over time is what helps you build that.
It's grooving those channels in the brain, isn't it? It's about rewiring your brain, which is the amazing thing. We can do it.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we have to do it. And that's exactly what, as coaches, for those listening, if you have not had the experience of having a coach or being coached, it is about understanding truly those limiting beliefs that are blocking you from your success, and really being able to get clear on what thoughts that you want to choose, how you want your life to go, so that you can retrain your brain and take the right steps forward. The accountability and support that comes on sometimes that really difficult journey.
Yeah, it is difficult, because our brain it has a negativity bias, and it doesn't like change. It doesn't want to change. So, we all know everybody joins the gym in January, and it lasts about a week and a half, because just so much easier to stay home. You don't need to go to the gym, says the brain. You'll be fine. And so when you're trying to change these limiting beliefs, it's just the same. It's like, well, you seem to be okay. Why change? And you need to keep going at it. And that's where that coaching helps, isn't it? It just pushes you to it.
It really does. It really helps hold that accountability, hold that space for conversation. and transformational change to occur. A lot of times I think the pushback is, oh, I'll figure it out. I'll do it myself. I'll look it up online. But that's not really, the point. The point is that you are benefiting from somebody else's brain, being able to hold up a mirror to some of the desires that you have, or some of the things that you're saying, if they're not in alignment, and helping you to get that alignment and success, whatever that means to you.
I think so. And I think as a coach, you can reframe things for people. So we all have our own perspective, and we say something and we think it's true. And a coach, as you say, can mirror it back and say, but have you thought about it in a different way? Have you used different words? So we can help to really empower people to create better results, really.
Right.
Absolutely. By little tweaks. It's sometimes just little tweaks.
1% right? Shifts. Yeah. That's what I'm always asking my clients too. It's like, okay, how can we shift this 1% to get you a different path here? Because sometimes it is only that 1% shift that's needed.
Yeah, for sure.
So Carol, I'm going to put you on the spot here, but what's the most impactful or beneficial thing that you've received from being coached?
Ooh, I wasn't expecting that.
I know. I threw it in there.
The most impactful thing. I think it's actually the nudge to do something. So, I had never done Facebook Lives.
Right.
I thought I'd die going live on Facebook. It was the worst thing ever. So our first coach said, do a week's worth of those. That was impactful for me because it started to get me used to it. My next coach is, you need to do a masterclass. Now you need to do a course. And I don't think I would have done that. I would have sort of made it, it has to be perfect, maybe later. So I think it is that little bit of a push that they give you to do something that's really quite uncomfortable, but that you need to do to grow.
Right.
That would probably be it. A lot of the social media stuff.
Yes. And especially for, online coaches, that's a lot of where we're advertising. So it makes sense, to master those skills, overcome the fear, show up bravely in your space, in your thoughts, in your service, and share that with the world. Absolutely. So even for me, I've seen such a great change in just from starting with my first coach, even in, everything, confidence, the way that I'm saying things, right. Being able to stand bravely in my message. So that's wonderful. And, I think it's that accountability. It's like that love and support, that nudge, you need a tough love sometimes, but it's also that accountability. Like you have to answer to that person. You can't just say, oh, well, it didn't happen. I'm just going to forget about it. Right.
Yeah. And it builds confidence. I think the point about that and those nudges and pushing you to do these uncomfortable things builds the confidence in yourself that you can do it. And it is okay. And even if it goes wrong, it's okay.
Right.
That's a big one, right? Because we all have this big judgmental thing going on in self-judgment. Everybody's judging you. So get over it and just do it. She says, hating only just after 2 years getting really comfortable going on to Facebook Live. And I wouldn't even say really comfortable, but yeah.
You're doing it. That's the thing.
That's right.
Makes the difference. That makes the difference. So tell us, how do you define success?
That's an interesting one. And I think it's different in different stages of life. I think initially success for me was probably my career. When you get promoted and finally being a director of 5 clinics, that was successful. Or was it success when I helped somebody get better? That was more of a success to me, really, in the end. So when I think of success now, I think about having made a difference in people's lives, whether that's my children, my family. That to me is success, is how have I impacted somebody in a good way? Have I done the very best I can for myself and for them to help them grow? That's probably my definition now.
I love that. Yes. I work with a lot of people who would identify as, empathetic or, empathic or really caring, and their high value is do no harm. So on the helpful side of that, it's when we help someone, we feel really good. And that's all good. But then it's like when we make a mistake or we unintentionally hurt someone, it's also that we have to give ourselves that grace and forgiveness of, hey, it's okay.
Yeah, totally. Self-compassion. And forgiveness. Yeah, for sure.
How you bring that balance in self-care. How do you continue that from that time?
I have meditated for years, but I've just increased how long I meditate. And now that I don't have to be at work at 8 o'clock in the morning, I have that time that I can get up a little more leisurely and spend more time meditating. So I do meditate every morning. That's a must. I exercise on the exercise bike. I read, self-help, Bob Proctor, whether it's Abraham Hicks or Wayne Dyer, all of those sort of things to just keep me in that frame of mind of improvement. And I journal. And the big thing is gratitude, actually. I gratitude journal every single night. And I really try and look for gratitude every day. Even, when you're feeling down, gratitude's the biggie for me. So my self-care is a lot around that, a lot around meditation, gratitude, compassion.
That's wonderful. Yes.
And socializing with friends now that we can.
Yes, y'all have been.
We've been pretty locked down
for a while. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you can now.
Yes, me too. It's very nice.
Yes. So tell us more about what you offer and how folks can work with you.
Yeah, for sure. So I love to do one-on-one coaching. So right now, that's where I'm focusing my time. And the reason for me is it's very much like physical therapy. Again, everybody's back pain is different. They have different issues. So I love to come with clients and look at their different issues, and we can go deep in that one-on-one. So I do one-on-one. You can do VIP, a couple of hours. You can book a couple of sessions. You can do a 6-month program. Open to whatever's appropriate for your needs. The best way to get in touch with me is either hello@carolbanens.com or going to my website, which is www.carolbanens.com. And I love working with people. I love to get in deep and figure out what the limiting beliefs are and how we can help create boundaries and visualization and bringing in all that mindfulness and gratitude. All those things we kind of push to the side and say, yeah, they'd be nice. They're for other people. No, they're not. They're really for you to reconnect. You have to reconnect with yourself.
Absolutely, Carol. Perfect. So to kind of round out your wonderful gifts that you've given us today on the show, what advice would you give to others who are looking to live their bigger, braver life right now?
You have to reconnect with yourself. I think you have to get back in touch with who you are, know who you are, know what you want. And once you've decided what you want, then you have to make the decision to go for it. It's about making that decision and taking action.
I love that. Yeah. Reconnect, get clear, and take that action. That's perfect. And along that line too, I just want to offer for folks who are listening that I'm providing that clarity as well on CEO values and vision audit. So this is specifically for individuals who are entrepreneurs, who are CEOs, who are those visionary leaders. And what we're going to do is we're going to get clarity on how your mission, vision, and values inform every other step of your journey in becoming the go-to, the known in your field, and where and how to use it to guide you to get there faster. And also getting a next step to becoming that confident, authentic, clear leader in your business and your life without burning out and without getting overwhelmed. So I'm going to link Carol's information. I'm going to link the information for the CEO values and vision audit in the show notes. Reach out to us. We're so happy that you listened, and we'll catch you in the next episode.